On a path back to Konoha were 9 people. Well, not necessarily a path since they stopped for the night in a clearing and were only a day out from Konoha. These 9 were Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, Kuratsuchi, Haku, Chojuro, Suigetsu, Karen, and Yugo. Jiraiya left them earlier needing to be somewhere else, and technically, the last 3 were prisoners. Except for Suigetsu. He was a cool dude and not committed to Orochimaru like Karen and Yugo were. The 4th member of their team, Kuratsuchi, was actually in a fight with the leader of the group, Naruto, at the moment. "I'll melt your ass, Namikaze," shouted Kuratsuchi loudly as Naruto took off into the woods. Kuratsuchi didn't know if Naruto was a Namikaze, but she clearly knew who Namikaze Minato was. Her grandfather's stories about the man were some of her favorites, and Naruto matched his description perfectly. This led her to believe they were at least related, just like the rest of IWA did. Kuratsuchi then sat down in the clearing, fuming, as Sasuke placed a hand on her shoulder. "It's okay. He's handling it now," said Sasuke as Kuratsuchi calmed down. "That jerk is taking his sweet time. It's his turn to get the firewood for camp. Then he made us draw straws, and even then he drew the smallest one and still hadn't gone yet. It's freezing out here," shouted an exasperated Kuratsuchi as Sasuke nodded his head. The IWA Kunoichi then remembered something. "Wait a minute. He's a Mokuton user. Can't he just dash Mokuton Renchuka no Jutsu with style? Serial pillar houses technique," said Naruto, appearing back in the clearing. 7 perfect houses grew from the ground surrounding the group. Once the houses stopped rising, Naruto smiled at his work. Naruto's smile ended immediately as he was hit with tremendous killing intent from the Rock Princess. "You mean tell me you could have done this from the start?" shouted an irate Kuratsuchi as Sasuke held her back from attacking Naruto. "We've been out here freezing for 10 minutes and you dash." Kuratsuchi let out a breath as she grabbed Sasuke by the collar and dragged him into one of the houses. "Let's go. I'm frustrated now and need to relieve some stress." As Sasuke got dragged into the house, he threw a thumbs up to Naruto just before the door closed on the house that Kuratsuchi and himself were staying in for the night. As that happened, Sakura and Chojuro took Karen and Yugo into their own houses, which were both more like prisons truthfully. Once the prisoners were in their house, a seal appeared on the outside as the house sunk into the ground to prevent any attempt of escaping. Sakura and Chojuro then walked into their own respective houses as Haku walked into her house alone since Suigetsu said a moment was necessary with Naruto before joining her. "Naruto-san," said Suigetsu as Naruto turned to the Hozuki clan member. "Sasuke gave you a thumbs up as he got dragged into his house by Kuratsuchi. Are you telling me that all that with Kuratsuchi earlier was just to help him get laid?" "Something like that," said Naruto as Suigetsu gave a shark-like grin. "No, I'm not your wingman too. It was already bad enough that Kuratsuchi tried to kill me just now, plus Haku-chan wouldn't fall for something like that." Suigetsu's grin lessened as he realized Naruto was right. "Right, I know. I don't really need it anyway. I have over a decade of tension built up. I've always wondered how you two met. Haku would never tell me, just calling you her hero and that she'd thought you were dead. You know, there were no Hozukis in Kiri when she went back. She obviously feared the worst. Lo and behold, Sasuke finds out you're there with Orochimaru. Tells me, and I actually tell her," said Naruto before realizing he hadn't asked a real question yet. "What's the story? You know about the Bloodline War, correct?" asked Suigetsu as Naruto nodded. "Great, it'll make this story short. Haku happened to show off her Kekai Genkai one day, not knowing that it was a crime to have one, and her father saw it. Now her father, not being a user of ice release or any Kekai Genkai for that matter, immediately realized his wife was one of them. He goes crazy, kills Haku's mother, and attempts to kill Haku. Luckily, she managed to kill him instead by panicking and releasing her chakra all at once." Naruto's eyes widened hearing that. What a horrible parent to have. But honestly, living was more of a hell for her. She'd lost both of her parents in the span of maybe 10 seconds, and it was essentially her fault due to showing off her abilities. She was delirious and depressed and on the verge of suicidal. "Until she found you?" "Yeah, found me. More so stumbled upon myself at the river with my big brother, Mangetsu. We took notice of her and brought her back to our house. She stayed with us for several months and she and I were inseparable. She was my best friend before I even knew what that meant. It was all going great until Orochimaru showed up. Orochimaru kidnapped me after killing Mangetsu when he tried to protect us from the sick freak. The only reason he didn't get Haku was because I pushed her into the river that we'd fled to and she managed to evade capture. Naruto nodded at the words as he smiled. I see why she calls you her hero. That's a nice story, man, said Naruto as he noticed Haku peering out the window at the two of them. You better hurry. Can see she's waiting for you. Suigetsu noticed Haku too and nodded his head at Naruto before holding out a fist for him to bump. Naruto bumped fists with Suigetsu as the Hozuki clan member stood up and went into his house with Haku. Naruto just continued to sit outside as he let the cool air flow through his golden, blonde hair. Naruto eventually got up as he headed to his own house to get some sleep. The next morning, Naruto awoke this morning early as he got ready for the trip ahead. Walking outside his house for the night, Naruto caused it to sink into the ground, destroying evidence of him ever being there. As he did that though, he noticed someone sitting in the tree directly behind his house. Sasuke? Wonder what he's doing? Questioned Naruto as he jumped over to his best friend. Naruto took a seat beside Sasuke on the tree branch as they both stared out into the forest in front of them. You were right, said Sasuke as Naruto nodded. I knew Kuratsuchi would want to do it if I got her all riled up like that. No, not that. Well, that's true, but not what I'm talking about. Naruto rose an eyebrow. Itachi, you were right. Naruto's jaw dropped remembering what he'd said about Itachi. Sasuke nodded his head before turning to Naruto with his Sharingan on. Kachan told me. Flashback, Sasuke versus Mikoto. It's okay. My baby boy, said Mikoto turning to see Sasuke's Mangekyo Sharingan. That was how he escaped her Genjutsu so easily. Before you seal me, I'm sure you want to know about what happened the night of the massacre. Sasuke's eyes widened. What? I already know what happened. Itachi probably won't tell you because it was an S-rank mission and he has some type of plan. However, I have no such restriction and I feel you need to know. And I want to hear your answer. Mikoto let out a small smile before getting on with it. On the night of the massacre, what do you remember doing? I was out training. I trained a little longer than normal because I wanted to catch up to Itachi as fast as possible. Right, well, Itachi killed everyone in our clan. That's the story, right? Not just a story. It's what happened. It's a lie then. Sasuke's brow furrowed as Mikoto closed her eyes. Itachi couldn't have killed everyone. No one, no matter how talented, could defeat the entirety of the Uchiha clan. Okay. Just means I have another target besides Itachi then. Itachi cried before killing us. Your father and I. Sasuke's eyes went wide. No, no. When I arrived, you and Dad were dead and he didn't have a tear mark on his face. There was no emotion. I remember what I saw. I see it in my dreams. Tsukiyomi is a powerful Genjutsu. Are you sure that's what you really saw? Questioned Mikoto, getting Sasuke to quiet down. We were planning a coup. The Uchihas were going to overthrow Konoha due to the scrutiny against us after the Kyuubi attack. I thought it was a mistake, but I loved your father and would do anything for him. He was adamant it was necessary, continued Mikoto before a tear trailed down her face. It wasn't until Itachi arrived that night that we realized our mistake. How far the rabbit hole went. How many innocent lives would have been forfeit during such a thing. It's why we didn't stop Itachi when he came to end our lives. I'm grateful he left you alive. Itachi loved you more than anything. Mikoto let out a breath before finally asking her question. You've heard my words, Sasuke-chan. I just want to know what you're going to do when you see Itachi. No matter what you choose, I will love you with all my heart. I won't kill Itachi, Kachan. Mikoto's teary eyes opened hearing the immediate answer from Sasuke. There was no hesitation whatsoever. His Chidori-infused hand was removed from her chest as she turned to see him smiling. Itachi has been through enough in his life already. And it's funny, Naruto came up with that idea a long time ago when we first became friends. It had been in the back of my mind every day since. Even if you hadn't told me your perspective, I may have never killed Itachi. He's the only family I have left, you know? Tears grew in Makoto's eyes as the sclerae turned normal in her Sharingan eyes. Makoto began to glow as she realized what was happening. I'm so happy, and it seems your words have freed me from the Edo Tensei contract, said Makoto as she reached over to hug her son. The trees from Naruto's jutsu began to recede as Makoto left Sasuke with a few more words. You make sure you keep Konoha and Naruto safe. I'm sure he's likely to follow in his father's footsteps. When he does, he'll need a confidant. Be there for him and be there for all of Konoha. The village may have a dark side, but the pros far outweigh the cons. I will. I love you, Sasuke-chan. I love you too, Kachan. Makoto disappeared fully as Sasuke let out a breath. I won't kill Itachi. I do, however, plan to let Itachi decide what he wants to do. If he wishes to die, to escape the hell he's been living in, then it is my duty as his brother to give that to him. It's what he's probably planned for. Sasuke continued to stare at the spot his mother once was as Naruto landed beside him asking if he was okay. Flashback end. Wow, what a… yeah, said Naruto as Sasuke nodded his head. He could understand the lack of words. He wouldn't know what to say either. Naruto and Sasuke sat in silence for several minutes before they heard a voice behind them. Naruto-kun. Sasuke-san. We're almost all ready to head back, said Haku, getting Naruto to stand up and turn around. Roger that. Let's get back to Konoha, said Naruto as he jumped back down into the clearing to handle getting the prisoners and destroying the houses. Nighttime, Konoha. Finally! Our shift is almost over. What a mundane day, shouted one of the gate guards with a yawn and stretch. Yep, 2 more minutes and we are out of here, said his partner as he noticed 9 people walking toward Konoha. Who is that? Questioned the first guard as he noticed the spiky blonde hair on the one leading the pack. It's Naruto. And who are all those people with him? His partner identified Sakura and some of the Kiri contingent. The man's eyes then widened when he noticed the ninja directly to Naruto's left. Uchiha Sasuke. He's returned. No fucking way, whispered the first guard as Naruto reached the gate. Naruto and Sasuke strolled past with a mere wave to the starstruck gate guards. Kuratsuchi went unnoticed by the gate guards as she continued to walk beside Sasuke. Chojuro, Haku, Suigetsu, Karen, and Yugo also walked past the gate without stopping, seeing how Naruto didn't. Holy crap! I can't believe the last Uchiha has returned. The gate guards snapped out of their trance when Sakura placed down their mission scroll. They dumbly nodded at the pink-haired Kunoichi as she also left to catch up with the group of 8. Sakura caught up to the group as they headed for the Hokage Tower. Halfway there, Naruto split from the group as he took Karen and Yugo to the torture and interrogation building. Team 10 were walking out of a nearby barbecue restaurant as they noticed the new group of 6 headed toward the Hokage Tower. Wonder what those from Kiri are doing out so late for? And with Sakura no less. And now there's a Kunoichi from IWA here. What's going on? Asked a keen-eyed Shikamaru, getting his teammates to pay attention as well. At least Sasuke and Sakura are there if something happens. Wait. Sasuke? Shikamaru noticed Sasuke at the lead of the group and was dumbstruck like his 2 teammates who had no clue what was going on. Shika, I thought you said Sasuke left the leaf and was a traitor? Asked Ino as she watched the retreating form of the Uchiha. Shikamaru began to rack his brain around it but couldn't come up with anything. Troublesome. We have to follow them and make sure they don't do anything. Sasuke's group eventually made it to the Hokage Tower as they entered the building and were all escorted to Tsunade's office. A knock came to Tsunade's office as she allowed them entrance. Tsunade smiled as she saw Sasuke walk through the office door. The Uchiha merely gave the bust Kage a nod back. I see you're all okay, said Tsunade, especially happy that the Uchiha was safe. It was mainly her who allowed him to do such a dangerous mission, and she would have felt mainly guilty if he didn't make it back. Wait, where's Naruto? He'll be a few, Tsunade Shirsho. He took our 2 prisoners to the T&I department, said Sakura as they all finished walking into the room. Tsunade nodded her head as she noticed two people in her office whom she didn't expect. And you two would be? Questioned Tsunade, looking at the short, black-haired girl with the IWA forehead protector and the white-haired, shark-grinning male. Tsunade Dano, said Kuratsuchi respectfully as she bowed to the female Kage. Standing up, Kuratsuchi introduced herself. I'm Kuratsuchi, Jonin of Iwagakure and granddaughter of the Sandame Tsuchikage. Tsunade nodded her head as a question entered her mind for her, but allowed the white-haired boy to go first. Hello, Tsunade-sama. I'm Hozuki Suigetsu. I've been a prisoner of Orochimaru's since I was 7 and have finally been freed. I'm not necessarily a ninja, but my allegiance goes to those in Kiri. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you both, said Tsunade as she bore her eyes over to the Rock Princess. I have his reason, but not yours. How are you here? Kuratsuchi readied an answer, but Sasuke answered for her. She's here for me, said Sasuke as Tsunade looked at his eyes and could see the message behind them. He's been traumatized. From his stint with Orochimaru? Thought Tsunade before thinking something different. No, it has to do with something deeper, maybe more meaningful to him. I'll have to see if Naruto knows. That is fine then. Just keep an eye on her, said Tsunade before wondering where Naruto was so she could get a debriefing from her mission leader. A knock came at the door as Tsunade thought Naruto was at it and immediately let the person in. However, it was Tsunade's temporary assistant, Yoma, coming in with a message. Tsunade-sama, I'm sorry to disturb you, but there's a Lieutenant Crunch here to see you. He said it was a priority. Shizune is not allowed to take another vacation unless I'm also on vacation. I can't have someone believing they can interrupt my meetings like this, especially one of this importance. Plus, it's nearly 9 p.m. Why the hell would someone need to see me now? Thought Tsunade as she spoke to Yoma. She could see what the man wanted until Naruto arrived. Please, send him in. Yoma nodded her head as she went to get him, but a voice from the windowsill spoke up instead. Thank you, Yoma. However, I just realized I got a promotion yesterday, said the man from the windowsill. It's Captain Crunch now. The room went silent for a second at the announcement. Tsunade's lip quivered upwards slightly as the rest of the room reacted to the joke. Suigetsu burst out with laughter as Haku covered her mouth to keep from also laughing loudly. Sasuke just smirked coolly at the clever quip as Sakura and Kuratsuchi placed a hand over their face. Chojuro began to chuckle as the man on the windowsill pointed at Tsunade. Gotcha, Bie-chan. 1 point for me, shouted Naruto as he jumped into the room near his team. Darn it, brat, that was a good one. Using my favorite cereal against me, said Tsunade, pulling out the little book that held the tallies of her and Naruto's little game. Seems you've taken the lead. Naruto just continued to cheese at his aunt before speaking. Shikamaru, Choji, Ino-chan. You guys can come in here and hear this, said Naruto, pointing out to Team 10. They were situated on the outside of the building eavesdropping and hadn't known they'd been caught. Sorry, Hokage-sama. We were tailing Sasuke here and wondered why nobody else seemed to care that he left the village and is now back. We thought he might be trying something, said Shikamaru honestly as he and his teammates stepped into the room. Tsunade nodded her head at his explanation. It's fine. It's expected. But let's let Naruto shed some light on the situation. Please go ahead and give us the details of your mission. Naruto nodded his head before relaying it. Team Naruto reporting back from their S-rank mission to Kusagakure. Mission status success. My team and I headed out to the base of Orochimaru's where we quickly located our undercover agent, Sasuke, before proceeding to rescue him. There, we met S-rank shinobi, Orochimaru, but Jiraiya arrived and faced him before killing the Snake Sannin. The team then scattered to gather the 3 important ninjas that Sasuke determined in his stint with Orochimaru. Those being Hozuki Suigetsu, Uzumaki Karen, and Yugo. Suigetsu is a native of Kiri and the last remaining member of the Hozuki clan. Karen is, as known from her surname earlier, and Uzumaki based on the samples gathered and analyzed from her DNA from submissions by Sasuke through testing. The last ninja is Yugo, the originator of the cursed seal and the only one whose DNA can help me remove it from the bodies of the Konoha shinobi with them. Afterward, we successfully brought Sasuke back from his long-term mission. Naruto then took in deep breaths after his lengthy explanation. Tsunade nodded and smiled before seeing Shikamaru put his hands. Wait, you mean to tell me that Sasuke leaving was a planned mission? And if so, why did we risk our lives getting him back if this was all supposed to happen anyway? Questioned Shikamaru with sharp eyes on Tsunade. Tsunade understood where Shikamaru was coming from. He and the 4 sent with him did give it their all that mission. Niji even came back with critical injuries in their failed rescue. However, this was the life of a Hokage, and she made that decision with Orochimaru's death in the endgame, and luckily it succeeded. I apologize, Shikamaru. It was an S-rank mission and on a need-to-know basis. Even Naruto and Kakashi didn't know at that time, said Tsunade as she added. Why do you think Sasuke hadn't officially been considered a missing nin? I thought that was just because of Naruto asking you not to, said Ino as she started to put the picture together. So Sasuke-kun never really became a traitor, left the village? He was just doing a long mission that ended with the death of Orochimaru. That's… wow. Choji smiled, realizing that Sasuke hadn't left the village and became a traitor as he'd thought those years ago. Shikamaru was still a little heated that they weren't informed of this when they were attempting his rescue. Right, there's more to it that I'm sure you want to know, Shikamaru. But I have to finish another debriefing first. I will answer your questions tomorrow, said Tsunade, getting everyone back on track. Thank you for that, Naruto. I'll need your written report later. Those from Kiri, your Kage, and I have finished our talks and you all will be heading back tomorrow. That is all, and you all are free to go as I'm sure you're very tired. Except for you, Sasuke. Everyone nodded their heads as they all walked out of Tsunade's office. Except for Naruto, who jumped out of Tsunade's window. Sakura took Kuratsuchi to a local diner to eat while she waited for Sasuke. Sasuke looked at the blonde Hokage as he blew out a breath before giving out his mission debriefing. Uchiha Sasuke, reporting back from his S-rank mission, started Sasuke as he went through the long, tedious process of relaying the details of his 3-year-long mission with Orochimaru. It was protocol to make sure the loyalty of the ninja hadn't changed in his stint away. Tsunade didn't like it as much as Sasuke did, but she'd be damned if she had a bad apple in the bushel. Especially an apple as important as Sasuke was. With Naruto jumped out of Tsunade's office as he headed to find someone. That someone was situated at Naruto's favorite place in all of Konoha, his father's stone head. Naruto landed behind the blonde in a shunshin as he walked up to her and sat down.
Yuji-chan.
Hi, Naruto-kun, said Yujito on autopilot. She then realized who she was speaking to a second later.
Naruto-kun.
You're back, shouted Yujito more enthusiastically as she lunged at the man beside her, taking him to the ground as she planted several kisses on him in rapid succession. I was worried about you and I missed you so much. Naruto smiled as he enjoyed Yujito's current assault on his face. I missed you too, said Naruto between kisses. Eventually, Yujito satiated her desire and allowed Naruto to sit up again. Naruto then looked behind him as he saw 2 green blurs heading his way. They have to know it's me, right? Deburu Dynamiku Ent Ori. Double dynamic entry, shouted the 2 blurs as they attacked Naruto. The wooden dome grew from the ground around Naruto and Yujito as Guy and Rock Lee both attacked the domed wall. Guy and Rock Lee stopped on contact with the chakra-enhanced wood as they felt immediate pain. Naruto let the domed wall sink back into the ground as he could see Rock Lee and Guy both on the ground clutching their leg, the leg used for their attack. SSSSSS. Ahawk. SSSSS. Aha. SSSSS. SSSSS. Repeated Guy and Lee simultaneously as they rocked back and forth, still holding their leg. Naruto smiled at the 2's antics before addressing them. It's me guys, Naruto, said Naruto as Guy and Lee both looked at him before running over and inspecting him. Guy grabbed Naruto's cheeks, apparently testing for makeup or anything before inspecting his hair to make sure it was actually Naruto. Lee grabbed Naruto's leg and checked his limbs out to make sure they matched Naruto's measurements. Guy and Lee both stopped at the same time as they smiled at each other, teeth sparkle shining bright in the nighttime. OSH. It seems Naruto-kun is back, said Lee as Guy nodded his head. Indeed, Lee. It seems we have accomplished our task of protecting Yujito until he returned, said Guy as Naruto nodded his head. Impressively, and there isn't a hair out of place on her head. We have succeeded in our task. That means we only have 100 laps around Konoha to do. Let's get to it. Rock Lee saluted his sensei as they both took off, leaving a trail of dust in their wake. Naruto smiled at their disappearance as he turned his face to see Yujito smiling at him sweetly. Yujito's sweet smile did nothing to distract Naruto from the Oni mask floating behind her. Naruto-kun, said Yujito as Naruto gulped at the extremely sweet tone that, despite its sweetness, promised nothing but pain. If you ever have to leave without me again, never leave me in the care of those two. Okay? Naruto nodded his head as Yujito patted him on the cheek. I wanted to take you with me, but you had to stay for the peace talks. You're technically Idano's eyes and ears, as well as voice while here. I understand. Just never those two, ever. Naruto nodded again before turning to look at the night scene of Konoha. Yujito placed her head on Naruto's shoulder as she interlocked hands with the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Want to hear about the mission? Sure. After I kiss your face some more. The next morning, Yugi-chan, said Naruto coming from the bathroom in only pajama pants after brushing his teeth. After watching the night surround Konoha, Yujito and Naruto headed back to his apartment to get some sleep. Upon waking, Yujito posed an interesting idea to Naruto. I'm telling you, double dating is a bad idea. Yujito was standing in Naruto's kitchen wearing a small t-shirt that, if she made any movement, would ride up just enough to show Naruto her backside. A backside that was only panty-clad at the moment. Quite the view for early in the morning. Kami bless her DNA. Thought Naruto as he looked at Yujito's body shamelessly. Yujito snapped Naruto out of his perverse peeping and thoughts as she began to speak. How is a double date a bad idea, Naruto-kun? Everyone says they are amazing, said Yujito, making breakfast as Naruto walked into the kitchen with her. No, only the winners of double dates think that, said Naruto as Yujito became intrigued at what his explanation was. You see, on double dates, there is this innate competition that occurs, meaning that no matter the circumstance, we are going to compete with them. If the other couple kisses, we'll have to kiss or we'll seem like the lesser couple. And then it'll just keep going and it'll never stop until the date is over. Yujito considered Naruto's words. How else am I going to meet your best friend and his girlfriend at the same time? I did already met Sasuke, but that was at the hospital, so it doesn't really count. Plus, we were only friends back then, said Yujito as Naruto couldn't figure out a better way than a double date to meet them both, so it wouldn't be awkward. Exactly, it's going to happen. And as far as this competition goes, we're maturer than that, aren't we? Naruto nodded his head as Yujito sat up on the counter, having finished making Naruto's plate. Yeah, I suppose you're right. Maybe this is not so bad. Just have to remember it's not a competition. No, there's definitely a competition. I'm just saying we're maturer in the fact that we'll win because we are the best couple, said Yujito with a smirk that Naruto returned. Naruto then noticed something though. Yugi-chan, I thought you were making breakfast. Now that I think about it, I didn't smell anything cooking, nor were you preparing something. Yujito sat atop a kitchen plate as she pulled out some whipped cream. Really? I thought I did pretty good on your breakfast this morning, said Yujito as she began to place whipped cream on different parts of her body. Unless you think something else would be better? Naruto shook his head quickly, finally realizing what Yujito meant. Yujito smiled as Naruto proceeded to have at his breakfast. 3 hours later, Uchiha clan compound. Sasuke stood with Kuratsuchi in his old stomping grounds, the Uchiha clan compound. Sasuke was wearing a simple, loose-fitting white shirt with black pants and black shinobi sandals. Kuratsuchi wore a red tank top with white shorts that stopped at her knees and red sandals that matched her top. Both of them forego their forehead protectors as they were off-duty. Sasuke looked around the place as Kuratsuchi decided to comment on its appearance. Wow, this place looks amazing, said Kuratsuchi as she looked around it. I thought you said this place would be condemned and you'd have to clean it and all that. Sasuke nodded his head. I did. I'm guessing Naruto kept with the upkeep of this place in my absence, said Sasuke as he and Kuratsuchi walked around the small grounds that belonged to the Uchiha clan. Nostalgia washed over Sasuke as he and Kuratsuchi walked with him, pointing out places and stating the memories he had of it. Soon the two arrived at the place Sasuke hadn't seen since the massacre, his real home. "You sure you want to go in?" questioned Kuratsuchi as Sasuke looked at her before nodding. "Well, if you want to." Kuratsuchi grabbed Sasuke's hand as they walked into his old home. After the massacre, the Sandaime asked whether he wanted to continue living there or move into an apartment like Naruto had. Not that he knew Naruto was in one, and Sasuke quickly asked for the apartment. Sasuke made sure to never cross his real home since the massacre. It was saddening to his young heart just thinking about it. But that was then and this is now. Walking in, Sasuke realized everything was just as he'd last seen it since the massacre, except without the bodies of his parents and the blood that adorned the floor. Everything else hadn't been touched or cleaned, unlike the rest of his clan's compound. "I thought you wouldn't mind me staying with the upkeep of the compound, but I figured it'd be best if I left this one to you." Sasuke and Kuratsuchi turned to see Naruto standing at his doorway holding Yujito's hand. Naruto was wearing a long-sleeved black shirt with light gray pants and black shinobi sandals. Yujito stood beside him in a blue, low-cut t-shirt, a pair of black leggings with blue sandals that matched her shirt. Neither of them wore their forehead protectors as they were both also off-duty. "Yeah, I appreciate that," said Sasuke as Naruto nodded his head. "It is a pleasure to meet you again, Yujito-san. This is Kuratsuchi." Kuratsuchi extended a hand toward Yujito, who shook it in kind. "Hello, Kuratsuchi. I'm ni Yujito," said Yujito happily as Kuratsuchi nodded and smiled back. "It is a pleasure. Though I have to wonder," said Kuratsuchi before pointing at Naruto. "How can you date someone like him? He's so annoying and immature. He gets on my nerves so much. I can't stand him." Yujito looked at Naruto before looking at Sasuke. Yujito then looked back at Kuratsuchi. "It was a plan. I don't know who came up with it, but it was likely to rile you up so you'd get frustrated and need to relieve stress. A classic in Jiraiya's playbook." "Yugi-chan," said Naruto at getting called out like that by his detective girlfriend. "You can't just say that." Now Sasuke is about to get his ass kicked for coming up with that plan. Sasuke noticed Naruto threw the blame all on him even though it was his idea. Yujito even said it was from Jiraiya's playbook. That was Naruto's sensei, not his. Before he could let it be known, he felt Kuratsuchi's anger spike. Looking at her, he only saw her smiling sweetly at him, which clearly was opposite of how she was truly feeling at the moment. "I can explain," said Sasuke before Kuratsuchi chased him out of his house and all around the clan compound. Naruto and Yujito just stood in Sasuke's home all alone as they watched Kuratsuchi attempt to harm Sasuke. "Seems this double date started well," said Naruto as Yujito nodded her head. "Indeed, I believe we are already winning," said Yujito, sneaking a kiss before they set off to find the other couple they were hanging with for the day. Nighttime, Konoha. Naruto walked out of the restaurant, a frown on his handsome face. The group of four spent the day at the hot springs, watched a movie together, and their last stop was at the pancake house. "I can't believe my record got broken today," said Naruto as Yujito put a hand on his back to console the gloomy Jinchuriki. "It's okay, Naruto-kun. There was no stopping it. There was no way it'd stand to someone in his circumstance." As Yujito talked with Naruto, Sasuke came walking out of the restaurant behind him with Kuratsuchi mock bowing to him. Sasuke had a crown on as Kuratsuchi began to speak. "All hail the new Pancake King. All hail the new Pancake King," said Kuratsuchi repeatedly as Sasuke just smirked. "I didn't even realize I ate 116 pancakes," said Sasuke, acting nonchalant as if he wasn't trying to break Naruto's previous record of 104. "Thanks for the meal, Naruto." Naruto held his toad wallet, Gamachan, as he sobbed anime tears. "Naruto-kun, you shouldn't have made that bet with him. Sasuke has been with Orochimaru for the last 3 years. He hasn't had food like pancakes since. He was bound to win," said Yujito as Naruto nodded his head. "You're right, Yugi-chan," said Naruto as he straightened up immediately and grabbed Yujito's hand. "Who's ready for the finale of this double date?" Kuratsuchi and Sasuke looked up at that announcement. "I thought the pancake house was the finale. 1 hot springs, 2 movie and 3 pancakes." I thought this was a trifecta. What could top pancakes? Naruto put his other hand to his chin as he thought for a second. Naruto then looked at Yujito, who looked back, as they had a whispered discussion that couldn't be heard by Sasuke and Kuratsuchi. Naruto and Yujito then nodded at each other before they turned to face them. You're right. Only ramen and sushi can top pancakes. But no, this is just for pure comedy. It's Umbu training season, said Naruto as Sasuke perked up. Hibi, said Sasuke in remembrance. This will be good. Both of the couples vanished in a shunshin as they both landed outside of the forest of death. Naruto channeled his chakra as an enormous tree grew from the ground, picking up the 4 ninjas to give them a view of the entire forest. Naruto pulled out 3 binoculars, one for Yujito, Kuratsuchi, and himself as Sasuke just activated his Sharingan. How are we supposed to know where they are dash? Started Kuratsuchi before Naruto calmly shushed her. Wait for it, said Naruto before an explosion rang out in the far northwest corner of the forest. From the smoke of the explosion came out running an Umbu with a red monkey mask. Right behind Saru was Hibi with her hands full of deadly sharp kunai. Naruto, said Sasuke as he vaguely remembered the chakra of the Saru masked ninja. Is that Kono dash? Yeah, it is, said Naruto as Sasuke looked on more interested. This is going to be good, said Sasuke as even Yujito and Kuratsuchi were enjoying the survival test Saru was going through at the moment. Elsewhere in Konoha, Danzo was in a panic. He may have a great poker face and it never showed on the outside, but internally he worried for his safety. How could I be duped like that? Thought Danzo as he sat in his home, which was outside the walls of Konoha. Sasuke has come back and Orochimaru is dead. It's only a matter of time before Haim comes barging in here with him and his contingent of shinobi to take me away. But why haven't they? Danzo knew that the Uchiha boy had returned yesterday and was sure Naruto would waste no time in finding and exposing him. But 24 hours passed by and nothing had happened. Nothing at all. Danzo ready to flee at a moment's notice, but they never came. What is going on? Thought Danzo, who for the first time in a long time didn't have a grip on the situation. Hokage Tower. Great. That's exactly what I was expecting, said Tsunade to the silver-haired ninja standing in front of him. This was the real plan? Questioned the ninja as Tsunade nodded her head. I have to say, Tsunade-sama, it's an impressive plan. I agree, said Tsunade with a smile. However, your student was the one to come up with it. And I have to say the brat was perfect in his execution of it. Kakashi's loan I widened a little at that announcement. Naruto came up with this? But when? Asked Kakashi as he became impressed with his student even more. Well, it was back when Naruto first saw Sasuke during the Sky Ninja raid. Naruto noticed the hidden Juinjutsu placed on Sasuke and realized Danzo was probably going to potentially get rid of him because of what he knows. Sasuke is a root agent without any inhibitors to keep him from talking. That is true. There could be another reason, but let's not speculate, said Tsunade as she continued. Naruto is strong, very strong, and likely could take on most of the shinobi in Konoha at once and come out victorious. Everybody knows that, including Danzo. So Naruto has been threatening Danzo and assured him that he'd be the one to bring him down if he got caught doing something unjust. Kakashi continued to put the pieces together. So, you're assuring Danzo's loyalty by pretending to not have caught him in the act of treason, trying to kill a fellow Konoha shinobi, said Kakashi as Tsunade nodded once more. Danzo has hidden motives. Everyone knew that since Sensei became Hokage, he continued to try to usurp power from Sarutobi Sensei to become Hokage. And in this situation, we'd immediately bring him to justice, but Naruto was right. We need him. No matter how despicable that man is, he is probably the most loyal to Konoha of us all. And his root program has done great things for this village, the dirty things that I cannot allow but was necessary. And now with the Sasuke thing, we have him right where we want him. That's incredible. Danzo is actually on our side now, said Kakashi as he smiled. It seems Naruto may just be a great Hokage. Tsunade smiled at the notion as she went back to her paperwork as Kakashi poofed away. Yes, he's going to be amazing, especially since that's only phase 1 of his plan. thought Tsunade with a mischievous grin. Location unknown. Two figures stood by the body of an unconscious male as they sat in a cave. The smaller of the two figures was looking out of the cave as he stared into the sunset. Itachi-san, what are you thinking about? Itachi let out a small smile, seemingly seeing something in the sunset. His smile vanished almost as fast as it appeared, replaced with his normal, emotionless face. Nothing that concerns you. Let's contact Leader Sama. Capture of the Rokubi done, said Itachi as he then added in thought. See you soon, Sasuke-kun.